Welcome to the Collide Kids podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. I am so glad you're listening today. Happy June, everyone. Hey, if you're new, I'm so glad you're checking this out today. Be sure to stick around to the very end. That's when we have our kids only segment where kids just like you get to be on the podcast. Well, I hope you're enjoying this summertime with your families and some great weather to get outdoors. Another reason I'm really excited about this month is my lineup of guests for June. It's just going to be so amazing. I've had some incredible guests in the past, and I cannot wait to share these new guests with you this month. So do me a favor, make sure you're subscribed so that you won't miss any of these awesome episodes. Well, today I've got another duo for you. You know, a few episodes ago, I had the Skit guys, and they were so much fun. Well, today I have another duo for you from a fitness company called REFIT REV. The REFIT company is a fitness company that began in 2009 with a passion for people and a desire to see fitness evolve into a life-changing fitness experience. Founders Angela Beeler, Catherine Ballas, and Emily Field decided that the community part was the missing piece in the fitness industry, and that connection was the key to lasting internal and external change. This trio built REFIT on a foundation of higher values, turning a fitness class into a revolutionary movement that transforms lives beyond the workout. Today, I'm going to be talking with Emily Field. She's one of the founders and creators of REFIT REV. She's a Waco, Texas native and married to a former professional baseball player, helping people find a place where they belong and can grow stronger body, mind, and soul is what motivates her to give 100% each day. Her energy is directed towards the fitness components of REFIT, the general operations of the studio in Waco, and raising 3 boys. I'm also going to be talking with Lindsay Brashear. She joined REFIT 5 years ago as a studio member. When she first walked into a class, she expected just a normal dance fitness class, but after that first class, she realized it was so much more than that. She's now the business operational manager for the company. She has a wonderful husband of 10 years and 2 awesome kiddos. These are some inspirational mamas. Here is my conversation with Emily and Lindsay from REFIT REV. Here we go. Emily and Lindsay, thank you so much for being on the Collide Kids podcast today.
Christen, good to see you.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love what you guys do. Will you just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. My name is Emily. I am one of the founders and creators of REFIT. But who I am, let's see. I am a wife and a mom. First, I married my high school sweetheart. So you kids, you know, the guy that you like when you're 13, 14 and your parents say, don't worry about him. You might not marry him. Well, you might. So it matters who you spend time with, no matter how old you are.
True.
We had our eye on each other back from, middle school days. So I married him, and then we went and traveled for about 10 years while he played professional baseball, which introduced me to a lot of life outside of Waco, Texas, where I was born and then lived and now live again. So my roots are here. My whole family is here. But really thankful for that time to be able to kind of broaden my vision and understanding of the world around me. And I have 3 boys, ages 6, 4, and 5 weeks. So I am a fully classified boy mom and now brand new newborn mom again. So I'm having fun in this season again in my life with babies in the house.
That's awesome. And Lindsay, tell us about you.
Yeah, so I'm actually the operational manager at REFIT. So I help with the business side of things. So helping behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have lived in Waco almost my entire life. I grew up here. Then I married my college sweetheart. So to play off what Emily said, same thing. If you meet him in college, you may marry that one too.
And now you're very good at school.
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah. So, yeah, and I'm also a wife and a mother. I've got a 7-year-old boy, his name is Colton, and then a 3-year-old girl, Hannah. She keeps me on my toes. And now I'm just where I am, which is REFIT. I love it here. I love what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, okay, so this is a podcast for kids, as you know. So we always like to start out with a joke or something fun or funny. So do you guys have anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'll speak up.
Yeah.
So
I only know knock jokes.
Okay, well, I have what I call the mom Batman voice. So
Ooh.
how many of you kids know that your mom has a Batman voice? And it's when you know she means business.
Oh, when the tone changes.
Yeah, when the tone changes, it sounds like this. Get out of bed right now. Now.
It doesn't even sound like you.
I know, right? But it works.
It's good.
Yeah.
For all the moms out there.
Put your
Feel
shoes
free.
on. Yeah, I can relate to that for sure.
It's different than just speaking louder in your normal voice.
Yes, you got to get that like grunt in your chest. Yeah.
The mom Batman voice. I love that. All the kids that are listening right now just sat up straighter and perked up
Yes.
for sure.
And they're like, oh, I know the voice.
Yeah.
Yes, they know exactly. You have to ask your moms if they have a Batman voice. That's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. So tell us about REFIT. Like, what is it all about?
Well, I can say that in a very short, simple phrase that everyone can remember. Because, there's a lot of different parts to it, and it could get complex. I could tell you all about the company and why we do it. But very simply, there are 3 words that make up our statement, and it is everybody belongs. And we actually separate the words everybody and everybody, because a lot of times in the fitness world, or when you're just thinking about what kind of person likes to exercise, you typically will think of a certain size person or a certain age of a person, or what type of person would enjoy fitness. And we really do believe that everybody is worth us loving, and everybody is worth themselves loving themselves and being the healthiest, most whole version of themselves. And so we are very purposeful in who we talk to and how we talk to them, because fitness can be kind of an intimidating topic for people to talk about, especially as you go through childhood into adolescence and then into adulthood. You kind of start to form this idea about what you should look like, or how you should have a relationship with exercise. And so we're here to really just instill confidence and speak truth and speak life, and bring positivity in people's relationship with themselves and with exercise. So it's a space where everybody can feel accepted and loved.
That's amazing. Why do you think exercise is so important? We'll be right back after this. Raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media, and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
Well, it is not just a physical benefit, but at REFIT, we really hone in on what it does for your mind as well. And then even down to a heart level. So, down to your very soul. It elicits something whenever you are moving your body. There are chemicals in your brain that get released. There are new ideas that enter in to your mind. You start to talk to yourself subconsciously while you're exercising. And so the more that we can move our bodies and be positively talking to ourselves and having a positive experience during that movement, it really does affect you as an entire person.
Yeah. And it also helps it helps just everything about you. It helps you at school. It helps you at work. Helps you keep going and be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, whenever I exercise, I know after that, my mind feels more clear. I don't feel all the emotions. Like I don't feel like I'm being controlled by my emotions because I have an outlet to kind of get some of that energy out. And so I know a lot of people experience exercise in a different way. So talk about that a little bit, about every body belongs. Like you're talking about different, when you separate the two words, every body, what do you mean by that?
We mean very practically every shape, every size, every age, every fitness ability, whether you have spent very few minutes off the couch or whether you voluntarily choose to go run every day. The format of our fitness style is all set to music. So it's just movement and music. And, raise your hand out there if you love to dance. Okay. Even if you didn't
Mine
love,
too.
yeah. But surprisingly, we find a lot of people who say, oh, I can't dance, or something in their mind has told them, I'm uncoordinated. I have 2 left feet. I'm not good at dancing. Well,
or someone has told them they're not good at dancing, or they're not good at exercising.
Right. And so we say everybody, and from our instructors, we make sure that they introduce the movements in a way that's very, very low pressure. We say participation over perfection. It does not matter what you look like doing it, just what you are doing, just the fact that you are moving and that you're having fun. We choose music that people like to sing along to. And so it really is just, it doesn't have to be a certain number of reps or your traditional push-ups, squats, jumping jacks. It can just be truly just moving your body the way it was designed to move, which is lots of different ways, set to really fun music that you could do in your bedroom, in your kitchen, in the car. You can move your arms around and bob your head around, and that is a form of exercise, and it's a very freeing form of exercise.
Yeah.
And I think too, one thing that separates us from other fitness companies is we're extremely inclusive. You walk in the studio and the first person you see is telling you, we're thankful you're here. We're happy you're here. So we really care about the people walking in.
Yes.
That's awesome. So you guys have a studio, like you have a place, but you also have a big online presence. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys got started with all of that?
Yeah, so we started off just offering classes here locally in Waco, and we were teaching classes in our church and in a lot of other churches. We were teaching in the Civic Center, in the middle school band hall. We were teaching really anywhere that we could get our foot in the door, because we really believed in what we were doing and we wanted to reach as many people as possible. But our members who were coming to our classes said, hey, is there any way that you could record some of your choreography and put it, I don't know, maybe like on YouTube, and we could watch it between classes? And we thought, well, that's not a bad idea. So we started recording things for YouTube, and then we had our first person, gosh, I don't know how many years ago this was, maybe 9-10 years ago, that said, hey, I found you guys on YouTube because I'm looking for choreography to clean music, music that I am okay with my kids hearing or that I can play in my own church. Would you be willing to travel and come lead my class in one of your classes? So we got on a plane, we went to Chicago, met these random strangers and showed up in their classes. And that was our first real taste of what that next chapter was then going to look like for REFIT, where we would meet people online and travel and do live classes for their local classes and really introduce people to our different approach to fitness. So we had a lot of other instructors who were teaching other fitness formats that then became interested in our method, in our approach to it, the language we were using, the movements we were using and the moves we weren't using, the music we were using and the music we tended to steer away from. And so that's when we really started taking our focus, not just locally, but really pushing a lot of our content online, because what we've said in trainings is the three of us founders never set out to be a big deal, but we want to be a wide deal. So we want for as many people to be able to jump onto the refit boat as possible.
That's awesome. I love that. Lindsay, what is it that you do behind the scenes? Like, what is your job in all of this?
Yeah. So, all sorts of things. So I kind of help that just to make sure that the business is going smoothly. So a lot of help with promotional work to get our name out there, and just to make sure the studio's running properly and making sure we're staffed accordingly, and just supporting the founders any way that is possible or any way that I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. How did you get started in the company?
Oh yeah. So about 5 years ago, I was going through a hard time. I had gained 60 pounds with Colton. So kids, your mama loves you. Loves you. Okay. So gained 60 pounds with him. So my best friend was like, hey, we should go check out this refit thing. There's a Groupon, you get half off for 2 months, whatever. Okay. So I walk in expecting just a workout and, just expected to sweat. What I found was people welcomed me. People were vulnerable with me from day one. They were like, we are so glad you're here. Everyone approached me. They were just so thankful I was here. And I was like, well, I can't dance, so I'm just going to chill out here in the back. And they're like, yes, you can. Doesn't matter. So yeah. And then at the end of the session, they did a really good heart work session is what we call it, where they really speak to your heart. And that just drew me in. So I was a participant for 5 years, and I was fortunate for this position to come up, and they're growing, and I'm excited to help them grow. So that's kind of my specialty.
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
I can say that the three of us that had the idea for Refit, we continue to just have ideas for Refit. Yeah. And then we needed someone to be able to turn more ideas into reality, and heads that were up in the cloud, keep the feet on the ground to be able to run with it.
Yeah.
And so we have a really amazing team here at our headquarters in Waco, growing our staff members really by the year. And we have a lot of people that are in alignment with our values, and that creates a really powerful business.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about thinking about exercise and thinking about fitness. We have a lot of families that are listening. We have a lot of kids that are listening. What would you say to kids who are maybe nervous about, like, they don't like to go to PE, or they're not really an athletic type person, or maybe they are and they're just trying to figure things out? What would you say to encourage the kids that are listening right now?
Oh yeah. So first of all, if you're scared of PE, or if you're discouraged about going there, I just want you to know that if you're there and you're moving, you're doing great. So you should never be scared to go to PE. And if someone tells you differently, they're wrong. So you can tell them, Lindsay from Refit said you are wrong, and the mom Batman voice is coming to get you. Okay. So, just get out there and move. It's good for you.
Yeah. And I would say that just as a very strong but friendly reminder that exercise doesn't have to look a certain way. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's either just doing it or not doing it. And anytime that you are getting up and just using the body that God gave you, that's what I tell my son is all of my sons, and any child that will listen to me. Yeah. I encourage him to use 3 of the things, because he is kind of a perfectionist. He wants to know, like, am I doing it well enough, or am I doing it the right way? And so, that coin phrase of just try your best, he doesn't really understand what that looks like. Yeah. So I say, God gave you a brain. So you need to be thinking every day, how can I use my brain? What can I learn today that can make my brain grow? Okay, God gave you a heart. So theoretically, yes, the heart as a muscle, but a heart to care for other people, to be kind to other people. How can I use my heart today to love someone else well? Guess what else God gave you? He gave you really strong muscles. He gave you legs that can move your body. And so if we don't use our bodies, then we're missing out on a really, really cool and important gift that God gave us when he created us. He created us with the exact body that he wanted us to have, and he wants us to use it the way that it is able to move. And so I just encourage him that anytime that we aren't utilizing our gifts that God gave us, it may not be right or wrong, but we're missing out. And so I want you to experience the fullness of life. And I do believe that movement is one of those gifts to take advantage of.
And you should encourage your friends or other people that are struggling with exercise to get out there with you. Go for a walk, go for a run if you're really doing great.
And just make it fun. Make it something that you enjoy. But I think understanding why you're exercising is important at any age. We talk to adults a lot about it too, but I think for kids, for you to understand, like, well, why should I exercise? Answering that question is what's going to help motivate you to make that choice.
Yeah. And I love you were talking about how God gave us a body. He gave us a mind. He gave us a heart. It's like that Bible verse that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. And so, like you said, God's given us all those things. And by using those things that God gave us, that's how we can show love to God and to others. So I love that. That's really a good way to look at it. Okay. So tell us about how you come up with like the songs or the dance moves or the activity that goes with your fitness stuff. Like, tell me about how that comes about.
Well, it starts with a good radio station. I mean, really,
Pandora,
right? Spotify. Get that playlist on shuffle. And because we believe so much in that exercise should be fun and it should be something that you want to do, not something that you have to be forced to do or be dragged into doing, but something that you look forward to doing. It all starts with, we think, the music. If it's a really boring song, it's not going to be all that fun to move to, right? So we first start by finding that perfect song that you really can't help but to get up and start dancing along to. So once you have the right song, then just on a very practical level, if you're interested in how the choreography works, every song has its dedicated parts. There's a verse, there's a chorus, there's usually a bridge, and then it goes back to the verse, bridge, verse. And so to simplify it, we have a certain set of choreography that goes to all the verses. Then whenever it switches to the chorus, well, then the exercises, the choreography switches to what's going to happen during the chorus. So then as the song goes on, as you become familiar with the song, you start to remember, the verse is coming back again. We're going to go back to those moves that we did in the verses. So it's not a super complex, like a halftime dance performance kind of choreography. It's simple movements that repeat themselves so that you're able to catch on, learn a little bit faster so your bodies can go ahead and get out of learning mode and into that doing mode.
Yeah.
So we try to keep choreography interesting enough to keep people's attention, but simple enough to where anybody can stand up and join in to do it.
So if it's your first time, you could jump right in. You'll eventually get it.
Jump right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a follow the leader kind of format. So whoever's leading on the video or in the class, they're doing it and you're just following along to what they're doing. So you're watching your instructor and you're mirroring what she's doing. It's not a big guessing game.
And we always encourage our participants, hey, with their first class, if you're going the right direction, you're doing great.
Yeah.
So,
Just don't run into each other and we have a successful first class.
Yeah. When I've done choreography in the past, I just always make sure I'm doing the same thing as the person right in front of me. So if they're moving to the left, I'm moving to the left, even if I don't know that that's the right thing.
As long as you're moving, you're doing good.
Right.
Yeah. And like I was telling you earlier, I found you guys because I used to children's worship leader. And so we would do a lot of active songs. We like to do some Christian songs from the radio, like things that kids are going to hear. And you guys just had some really fun things that even our kids could do. So I would teach some of your routines, some of your choreography that's supposed to be fitness. So we're all breathing a little harder after the end of it.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to be able to use that to worship and for our church service or for our family gathering or things like that. So you guys have a lot of fun stuff. And I know especially with the past year that we've had where we've been in lockdown or we were in quarantine and we couldn't get out or go to the gym or be around people. It was so nice to have YouTube and videos where we could do some things from home.
Absolutely. And especially what we kept reading and what we kept seeing was that people were really struggling mentally through all of that COVID shutdown. And so, like what we had said earlier, whenever you exercise your body, your mind really benefits as well. And so I think that was something that people got to experience. Maybe you didn't even realize that you were in kind of a brain funk or that you were kind of in a foggy space until you didn't go anywhere for a really long time. And then it really kind of started to settle in. And
it's hard. You miss your friends. I can't, the first time my son had a Zoom call, I don't know if any of you kiddos had one of those, but it was just interesting to see him talk to all of his friends on the computer. And he walked away and was like, Mommy, that was really fun. Like, that was good. Like, I miss my friends. So
you feel better.
Yeah, you feel better.
Yeah. And I think it just promotes the next good choice to make the choice to exercise, then just kind of inspires you to keep making good choices after that. So I'm so thankful. Technology can kind of get a bad rap from the older adults. I will even put myself in that category too. We think of all the ways that technology is dooming the younger generation, but it's provided a lot of really, really extraordinary opportunities for people to have access to things who otherwise wouldn't have access to them. So we're honored that we got to be part of people's lives through their living room through, a method as funny as YouTube.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like, as because you're a fitness instructor, you're teaching these classes, do you feel like you have to be a certain level of fitness or a certain level of healthy to do this?
I'll be completely honest and say when I first started, I did. I would work out on the side. If I wasn't teaching enough classes that week, I would do extra work on my own, thinking that I needed to have this certain level of fitness to be able to talk while I was teaching, and not be winded, or I didn't want it to seem like I was out of shape. Like, well, gosh, if the instructor's out of shape, then how are they going to trust me to lead them through a workout? And that was just very quickly debunked. And it was once I started experiencing real life and went through my first pregnancy and then recovered from that one. And then my second pregnancy and recovered from that one, where I wasn't always in the best shape. It was during those seasons that I actually found myself connecting with people the most, because people want to be able to relate to other people. We want to create a very honest environment where our instructor can show up and say, I will show up and say, hey guys, guess what? I didn't really want to be here today. I have a lot of other things I have to do. I am tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. My son might have a stomach virus. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to start throwing up. But we're here together and we're in this together. So let's go ahead. We're all going to feel better once class is over. So let's do this together. So we're now in a place where we can be really honest with.
So whenever I started, like I said, I had just had my son. Well, I say just, I think he was like 2 at the time. And Emily was actually pregnant with your first son, right?
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, with her first son. And so the fact that Emily wasn't some super fitness, like sculpted in her prime, that encouraged me to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what, she can do this, and she's pregnant, and she encouraged me to keep going. And now I just got certified a couple months ago, and I'm at the very beginning of that journey, and I feel encouraged to get up there and to do that. And that's because of our instructor community.
Yeah. So in the same way that I would say to kids about, you don't have to be a certain age in order to be a leader, or in order to have a voice or have an opinion or have an idea that someone else should listen to. You don't have to reach a certain point where you have attended enough school in order to be heard. You also don't have to reach a certain level of fitness in order to enjoy exercise, right? You should be able to jump right in and love your body exactly where it is and not wait until you get to a certain size or certain appearance before you then start accepting yourself.
Yeah. Appreciate what your body can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's such good encouragement, I think, for anyone that's listening. Just it's good to not bog yourself down or hold yourself back from what you are capable of. And I think we do that a lot.
Yeah. Well, we say once I do blank, then I'll blank. Or once I look like blank, then I'll like myself more.
Yeah.
And it's this if-then kind of waiting game rather than making a decision for how we're going to treat ourselves, how we're going to view ourselves, the way that God sees us right now. He doesn't make us get clean before you can then go into the church. He doesn't make us dust ourselves off and get ourselves right before we come to him. He asks us to come to me, all who are broken and weary.
Accepts us anyway.
Right. Let me, if your yoke is heavy, bring it to me. I will lighten your load. And so in the same way, love yourself the way that God loves you. And that's not contingent or conditional based on what you're able to do later on. It's who you are exactly in this moment.
Yeah, that's so good. So let me transition a little bit. Let me ask you, what is your favorite song or your favorite choreography that you do? Like if we were to send everybody to go look up this video, this is my favorite one. Which one is it?
Oh, man, I wish I had 4 days to think about this.
But I don't know the name of it, but everyone's it's a Bieb. It's a Justin Bieber. It's the one that goes like this. You know what I'm talking about? And then you do the squats.
Intentions.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Justin Bieber fans, we've got Intentions. I really love all of our choreography to Toby Mac. We are Toby Mac fans. I think we actually have a YouTube playlist. So when you go to our YouTube channel, you can click on the different playlist. And I think we have one that we even called Mac Attack. Like it is a Toby Mac dedicated playlist. We also have some like faith-filled playlists.
We've got some good ones from the Trolls soundtrack too.
Yep.
Yeah, those are good. Oh, Moana.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Moana, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I would just search REFIT REV Toby Mac.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Okay.
And any of the choreography that we've done to that artist will populate.
Mandisa too.
Mandisa has a good one too.
Yeah, we've got some.
Mandisa's Good Morning is our very first YouTube video that hit 1 million views. And so that's kind of what put us on the map that then started populating. You know, once you reach a certain number of views, then it starts to like become a suggested video for someone else. And so then it gains more traction in that way. Took us a long time to get to that 1 million, but we did.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an overnight viral video, but I think enough people were searching for, you know, a good, clean song. They liked the song, and then they saw that there was exercise put to it. And so it got a lot of views, but that's kind of a fun fact about REFIT.
That is fun. That's really cool. I always like to end my show by asking my guests to share a memory from when they were a kid. So do you have a memory you want to share with us?
I'm going through all my childhood right now.
Yeah, so I really loved sports growing up. So my happiest memories, I think, were just going into softball tournaments with my dad. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
I was a softball gal too.
Yeah.
What's funny enough, I think about my childhood and I'm able to smile about this now because it is part of who I am. At the time, and if you know, maybe some of you have had this condition before or have it right now, but I had a lot of tics growing up, not like fleas and ticks, but like tics that I would do with my body. It would either be like an incessant like clearing my throat or like blinking a lot or messing with my hands, and it became where I was like squeaking and everything else. I was just a very active person. And I remember other kids like wondering why are you making that noise? Why are you doing that? And, you know, if you had asked me 20 years ago, hey, do you like this part about you? I would say, no, I'm embarrassed of it. I can't control what my body does. I don't know why I'm blinking like this. I don't know why my arms are doing this. And it was a multiple tic syndrome that eventually just kind of developed over time and phased out of that and kind of looks different now as an adult. But it really taught me a lot of confidence as a child, because it was who I was. I couldn't control it. I couldn't change it. I couldn't do anything about it. And there's lots of memories attached to that condition specifically that I could point back to and say, okay, that was a really shaping childhood, not moment, but a very shaping part of my childhood that I think has contributed to me being able to just be okay with who I am now. Because at a very young age, I kind of had to just say, hey, this is me, and not apologize for it or try to change it. So that's not really a great answer to your question.
No,
it's
that is a great answer.
It's a memory upon memory upon memory. It's a big remembrance of my childhood.
It's something you learned. So
Yeah. I can kind of laugh about it now. I remember all the ticks. I could come back and do all of them right now if you want to see what I did with my hands. And she's still very much a part of me.
But I love that you said that you took that and that's what kind of helped you get some confidence, because you just had to accept yourself through that. So I love
laugh about it.
Yeah. And I've heard somebody say before, God doesn't waste anything. And so what might not be a great thing or a bad circumstance, God can change it and use it for good. So that's a really cool story. Thanks for sharing that. How can our listeners connect with you more?
I would say, yes, of course, YouTube. That's available to anyone and everyone. There's a plethora of, you'll see a lot of different styles that REFIT has to offer. But where you're going to get more of the personality of REFIT and where we can more directly interact with you will be through, we call it REFIT On Demand. And it is the classes that we teach here at our studio in Waco, Texas, get streamed. And it's $10 a month, where you can get the first month for free, but you get to come be part of our classes that we teach every day here. You get unlimited access, over 15 workouts that you can choose from at any time. So we're actually like talking to you on the camera, and you can be on that Facebook page and we can talk with you there. So you'll get a better experience of what our instructors have been trained to do with our classes through REFIT On Demand. And
our noon class is starting. So
I hear it. There's like a bump in the back. I love it.
So if you go to refitrev.com, REFIT, REFIT, Rev, like revolution, REV.com, it'll actually populate right there, and it'll let you sign up for your first month free of REFIT On Demand. So
we're also on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Yep, at REFIT Rev is all of our handle for everything.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This was so fun.
Of course. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yep, I am ready to get moving. I love talking with them today. Wasn't that amazing to hear all the things that happen to your mind and your body when you exercise? It's good for your brain activity, for creative thoughts, for your emotions. It helps so many different things. I loved learning about that today. And I love when they said that God gave you a mind and a heart and a body. It's a gift, and God wants us to use it. Anytime we aren't utilizing our gifts that God gave us, we are missing out. That was such an encouraging thing to remember. And I love when Emily was talking about the way that God sees us. He accepts us in any way. And so we should love ourselves the way that God loves us. God loves us unconditionally. He does not expect us to be perfect. He loves us just the way we are, and he wants us to grow and be better, and that's what we should do for ourselves. So good. Well, if you would like to learn more about REFIT Rev and see their videos and their studio and all the different things they have to offer, go to refitrev.com and check that out. I'm sure they would love to hear from you as well. So connect with them on social media and make sure that you let them know you heard them on the Collide Kids podcast. Well, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is the part of the show where you get to be on the podcast. So I'm really excited to present my son, Ethan.
Hi, my name is Ethan, and I have a joke. What happens when you tell an egg a joke? It gets cracked up.
Thank you, Ethan. You know, eggs are one of my favorite breakfast foods, so that's That's reminding me of breakfast right now. Well, I would love to hear your favorite joke or an encouraging quote you like, or maybe you have a Bible verse you want to share with me. You can find all the information about how to send me the recording of you just saying your name and whatever you want to share on my social media. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. And come check out my new website. It's thecollidekidspodcast.com. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and follow this podcast so that new episodes will automatically load each week into whatever podcast app you're using. And if you're listening on Apple right now, it would mean so much to me if you would leave a rating and a review. That actually does help other people find out about the show so they can listen too. Well, I hope you've been encouraged today to move your body, to get out there and exercise, no matter what you feel like, no matter what you look like, no matter what age you are. All bodies are made to exercise, and all bodies are a gift from God. Well, in case no one has told you today, let me be the first to remind you that God loves you so much. Thanks for listening.
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between. And all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids Podcast.